In many ways, this checklist is probably the easiest one to do. Finding the patterns in this is probably the hardest thing to do. So you got to work your way through it. You should especially look at my example of this, which I will include a PDF a scanned PDF of the work I've done with this. In the checklist, it asks you to list the main auditory elements you find in the poem. Again, you have to read the text book, the scanned text that I've provided for you, to get some of these ideas. You may remember some of them from long ago, but mostly what you have to look for are things that are repeated. And by that I mean stuff that draws your attention to the words themselves because they've been repeated. Like if the first letter of a word is repeated, that's called alliteration. If a vowel sound in words are repeated, that's called assonance. Some words sound beautiful, like willow is a beautiful word in my poem. And some words are ugly, honestly. Jabbed is an ugly word. It's ugly in sound and in meaning. Sometimes you have nature sounds. Those are called onomatopoeia. Sometimes you have rhymes. The rhymes are not always at the end of the lines. Sometimes the rhymes are within the lines. Or you might skip a line, you find some rhymes. All the sounds do is draw attention to things that the poet wants you to draw attention to, if they're good. If they're not good poets, or they're not caring poets, then they haven't done that. Okay, let's just look at a few of these things. No one we knew. Those are all repetitions of N-words. That's called alliteration. And over here we have this T and the ED stopped, which just almost sounds like a T, and T. So hidden underneath this line is sound. So you got N's at the beginning and D's at the end. Why? I'm not really sure. That's just an observation I'm making. Sometimes the lines are meant to be together, considered as a whole. How do I know that? Because you have something like this. I am watching, and the I in thickness, and the I in willows. You've also got watching through the green, the GR here and the GR here. So it's obvious that this image is supposed to be central to you at this point, because up above it it's got a dry ditch. So, and up here you've got belly down, those two D's with my brother. So it's very clear to me that these sounds are meant to tie these four images together. Sometimes when you're looking for meaning in sound, you're kind of guessing a bit. For example, let me show you all these D's here. You got into red flannel and denim, shredding the child, made until it stopped, TD. Why are all those D's in there? Well, I think it might have something to do with death. Or how about all these S sounds? Screaming, he would kill us. Very close to the spot where he stomped and cursed. Rags and papers scattered. These are intended to be together because there are no S's in here. So they're setting this up. And with the idea that the engine right here, it's making a noise like an S, right? That's what I think. And the engineer who's on the steam engine was screaming and yelling and spouting, and it's something that's wild. But down here, no, that is what we talked about earlier. Just as that's a metaphor there. This whole poem is a joke. It's about a joke, but it's not funny, and the joke is not on the reader. Well, the joke's on the reader, and it's on the author as well. Sometimes there's stuff you don't understand yet. Like, for example, we have all these INGs here, which typically an ING is something that represents something that is happening right now. But there's tons of them right there. And I think it's also very interesting that right here, where it's another one of those examples that's like up here, is that it's the absence of the special use of sound that's important. There's no assonance. There's no inner rhyme. It's just a statement like up here. Okay? So I think that's one of the patterns in this, is that when the use of the special use, the repetitive use of sound stops, that you need to pay close attention. So that's my checklist for this. It's not complete by any stretch of the imagination, but it gets me towards understanding what the poem's all about.